What's going on, ladies and gents? Good afternoon. It is, it is indeed afternoon. Let me get you up to speed on what we've got done on the 71 C10. Okay, so since last we left off, I've got a bunch of stuff done. There's been a couple shorts, but no long-form videos, so let's go over some stuff. Let's start at the rear. So, I have the complete fuel system plumbed now. As you can see, I'm well into wiring as well. So we have 8AN PTFE lines coming out of our 450 liter per hour aeromotive pump. They run along the frame, then swap over to the outside of the frame because too close to the exhaust running on the inside, then back over, cross over again, up into this aeromotive boost referenced fuel pressure regulator, which as you can see is fully plumbed up into the motor. We still have, what is that, about 38 PSI. The last time I primed this up was 2 days ago, so it's holding pressure fine. We have that for monitoring if you're doing anything out here, adjusting it. Then we have a low dollar Motorsports 0 to 100 PSI sender that's going through the terminator so you can monitor it on your dash, your handheld, your phone, whatever your chosen display is. But that is 100% hooked up. I have primed the hell out of everything and left the pump running, no leaks anywhere. Awesome. I will show you the fuel filter setup on the frame rail after we go back down, or go back up actually. So, we've got our ECP radiator in here. What these are basically entropy radiators. It's the company, I guess, that makes them for entropy, is what I was told. And you can get them at a lower price than what entropy charges, because a full setup like this with fans and shroud and everything from entropy is like $1,800, I believe. So we got them cheaper, I believe we're a dealer as well now, because we just ordered 4 of these at the same time. It was something like just under $4,000 worth of radiator and fans for all the projects we have. Coolant bottle, overflow bottle, which this nipple will go up into here. We have a steam port over here that will go to the steam port that comes off of the heads. What I think I'm going to do actually is where this Y goes this way, I think I'm going to cut all these Oetiker clamps and flip this so it goes this way instead. Radiator hoses, this is an LS swap style radiator. So upper and lower are on the same side on the passenger here. Lower is in your normal spot right there. Upper with this Edelbrock water pump and LSA setup from Billet Specialties is right here. So we're going to basically 45 it up here, hard pipe it over, 90 degree it into here. Power steering cooler, mounted. I wanted to put a cooler on this. The boss really wasn't adamant on it and didn't really want to do it, but with this Billet Specialties kit and using their reservoir, there is not a lot of fluid capacity in this thing because of the baffling they have in it and whatnot, and it's billet, it's thick, it's like a 1/4 inch thick machined billet. So I wanted a cooler to help cool the fluid because there was not a large volume, plus it will add more volume between the cooler and the lines going over to it's probably another 1/2 quart of fluid, but the cooler is the main thing, it will cool it down. I got that mounted, I bought some 3/4, 1/8 inch, 3/4 aluminum, what do you call it, not rod, plate, whatever, about 96 inches long or so. Made a couple of brackets for that, nice acorn nuts and everything, so everything is cool and neat. And we will be doing the same thing in this area. It's going to basically be from here to here with our heat exchanger, only I need 1.5 inch 1/8 inch plate to do that because of the mounting bosses on the heat exchanger. That's not here yet. That's coming in, I believe, next week, 2 weeks from now. Don't know why. It came from the same place. For some reason, the 3/4, it's like, got it here the next day. The 1.5 inch was 2 weeks away. This is our pass-through bulkhead for our 12 AN lines that are going to be feeding said heat exchanger that is right here. Got the radiator mocked up. I skipped right over that, but that's mocked up lightly. We have to get these painted the same color as this. And we have to get the lowers. I only had one lower laying around here, so we actually have a full set of upper and lowers coming with the rubber pads and everything in them, so we're just going to send those ones out to paint them after we sandblast them. Coolant reservoir tank for the heat exchanger. This is a trick little piece from DMS, Dedicated Motorsports. If you don't know them, look them up. They got tons of awesome stuff for LS stuff, for Camaros, Firebirds, CTSVs, everything, like everything LS, and they have them for other stuff too, Dodge and all that stuff, or they have products for other stuff. This is a universal tank. It's got a Davies Craig pump that you can remote mount, or the bottom of this tank has a 16 AN fitting. The Davies Craig has a 16 AN fitting, so they are AN fit unioned together. I figured keep it all right there. It'll be nice and tight. It is going to be a little bit of a magic trick to get that 12 AN line to come out of that pump and go into one of those two unions right there, or one of those two bungs, but it will. And this is I only have one bolt holding this in right now because I got to get some threaded rod to make the other one. I just wanted to get it in here and check clearance and everything. But this is an actual ice tank. He makes them with a lot of threads, with a grate in there so you don't get ice down in your pump and jam up your blades. And then our lines, this will be our return right here. Where is it? Right there. It's on that side. I'm looking at it backwards. And then our feed will come up and go right to there. And this is your drain if you were running ice and you want to drain it and throw some more ice in. Started on my wiring. We've got our American Auto Wire stuff. I terminated it up into somewhere in this, where it's hanging over here, is heat shrunk and ended, because right in that corner is where I'm going to break out to do all my lighting in the front, my horns. We are going to have a serious bank of relays in this truck. Let's go over that. So this is my normal 3-bank relay, high speed, low speed, that I like doing. If you want to know how to wire these up, look into my playlist on tutorials, and there's a how-to on this. It's just 3 relays, 4-pole, 2 4-poles, and 1 5-pole. And what this does is, when this has your ground trigger signal, it's sharing 12 volts through both fans, so it's a low speed. And when this one hits your ground trigger signal for fan number 2, this middle one switches over, and then both fans get full 12 volts. So those are going to go buried down here in this area where you don't see them. And I'm going to probably make a little cover to cover them, just so you don't see them even more. Then we also have to put a relay in for the pump on that heat exchanger tank. That's just a regular 4-wire normal relay. I haven't decided yet, I can either wire that so it comes on anytime you turn the ignition on, or I can wire the trigger for that through our Holley terminator on one of our spare trigger wires to come on, like, 10-15 seconds after the engine is running, and something like that, like how factory is. Factory CTSV stuff, I think it's, even if you set it to 0, it doesn't come on unless the vehicle starts. It's got to see RPM. So that I got to figure out. It'll work either way. It's just, I think I'm going to do it so that it's not on unless the truck is running. So that way we don't draw the battery down. And I'm going to do the same thing for the fans. I'm going to reconfigure those 2 outputs so that unless the vehicle is running, the cooling fans aren't on. So if you just key it on somewhere and it's up to temp, it's not going to sit there and run your battery down and then, oh crap, I can't start my car. So let's take a quick look inside. Not much has gone on. Did get our wiper transmission in, our wiper motor, got all that function checked. That was a pain in the butt. We have to make a mental note on these that wiper transmission and motor need to go in before we paint these things, because I did not enjoy taking off this freshly painted cowl panel to get all that stuff in there. I hate doing that. I don't do paint. I work around it really well, but I don't want to be taking paint apart and stuff. So we've got our fuse block mounted. It's gonna be a lot of talking in this video, so deal with it. That's all mounted. I've got to wrap this harness, figure out my routing for it. We have two pedal assemblies, brake pedal assemblies over there somewhere. I've got to go through both of those and see which one I'm using. We are using drive-by-wire, so we have to get our bracket to mount our drive-by-wire pedal. There is our washer motor, as you can see. We're still figuring out, I don't think we can get a speaker mesh grill put in up here on our TMI dash, so we won't be using dash speakers. So we're probably going to put in a high-end component system on our kick panels, and then we will also have a nice 4-inch on each side here, and then our big square kicker L7s or whatever they are there. If you guys haven't seen this, this is a nice little box from Slush Tubs. Molds right in here. Bolts in. I got the center jump seat in here, so I can't take this out right now, but this whole piece is magnetized in, and this bolts in. There's holes here through your factory hole, or your factory threaded bungs, where you would normally bolt the gas tank that was behind the seat here. Really nice. We did one in McDreamy. It's super good stuff. I like it a lot. They sound great. They look great. The one in McDreamy, we did cover the whole thing in leather. It was to match the interior. Is beautiful. This one, I don't know what the plan is yet. But, oh, I'm going to take the jump seat out because I'm going to show you my Holley Terminator stuff. So before we get to Terminator, now that the jump seat's out of the way, we'll just take this out. Oh yeah, my other seat's in the way. Let's hit our tilt. There we go. Get my fingers in there. There we go. So, as you can see, magnets all throughout. They custom cut this center section. They have all kinds of options. You can do whatever you want with this center section. They custom cut this and built this box for the dimensions of the amp that we're going to be using. We're going to be using a 5-channel amp that's going to be powering our subwoofers, our side speakers, and our front side speakers. But yeah, simple as that. Stays and doesn't rattle, nothing. The system we had in McDreamy bumped. That was for a not crazy system, that thing sounded insane. But let's look at some Holley Terminator stuff. So I was trying to figure out a good place to mount this Terminator X Max. I was looking up custom brackets and stuff online, on forums, as you do, for C10s, because there's not really a lot of room under this dash to mount it. There's no room in the glove box to mount it, because this has the really shallow glove box because of vintage air. I could do it under the seat like I did on Chili Pepper, but I really wasn't feeling that, because that one, we ran through a grommet at the base of the firewall and ran the whole harness under the rug, and then we built up on the sides with jute padding. And it looked good, but I wasn't happy with it. So after doing some searching online, I found a bunch of guys that have done LS swaps and even conventional Chevy V8s, said that there is enough slack in the lines on the Terminator to run them under the truck along the transmission tunnel, and the factory hole that's here on factory, your rear lighting, and actually on these kits too, the rear lighting goes under the carpet and through a hole right there in the middle of the floor. I like to run mine through a different way so it keeps it neater. But I was like, no shit. So I stretched the harness out down under there, and there was enough room. So I'm waiting for a grommet from Haltech to get here. There's a nice grommet that a buddy of mine, Pat, turned me on to. Two of them actually. One, if you're using just a Terminator with no X-Max or any other wires, it's a smaller diameter. And then one if you're using one like this with X-Max with transmission control and drive-by-wire and all that stuff. I'll put the part numbers for those up here somewhere from Summit where we got them from. But they worked out awesome. Or they're going to work out awesome. He's used them a bunch of times. I'm waiting for mine to get here next week. Whew, enough talking. On to some more talking. So I made this quick and dirty board to mount the Terminator 2, the 2 relays, and the 2 fuses. I wanted to get everything down there and neat, and I didn't want it to be so buried that you can't get to it. And I also wanted it to be something you could check quickly if you had any trouble codes or any issues going on. As you can see, there's your LEDs, so you can just pop your head under here and take a look, and you see your LEDs. The only other wire I got to put in here, or connector, is your main one with your big battery and ground. And under the passenger seat, I'm going to mount two big bus bars, two heavy-duty 600-volt bus bars, one for power, one for ground, to power all this stuff. I'm also going to do a smaller bus bar for ignition power, for the ignition power for all this stuff. Trying to make this one as repeatable as possible so I can start doing this for multiple vehicles that we are building. We have another one of these 6772s that's out with our buddy Eric at Metalworks Customs, getting all the metal work done. That's on a Roadster Shop chassis, but all this wiring is going to be the same. We have another one out with our buddy Dustin, who, that one's on a old school Roadster Shop Revo chassis. I believe it's the first generation of it. It's going to be same deal, same wiring, same 6772 GM. I believe that one's a step side as well. So we'll see if we do better with a step side this time now that Roadster Shop's actually made one. But let me put this up in the air. I'll give you a rundown. I'll show you the fuel hose routing, the fuel filter location, and what I'm going to be doing to mount a battery. All right, so fuel lines come up over the frame right there, keeps it well away from the exhaust. They cross back down here. They're all bolted nice into the frame. Cool little trick if you guys get these style clamps. Get yourself some nice button head 1/4-20 fasteners. Put these clamps in the vise, take the stock bolt out that comes with it, just drill these holes open to 1/4 inch, get a bolt that's longer than these, tap your frame. This is a nice thick frame, so we can just tap the frame. If you're using like a stock frame, put a nutsert in there, and you can just bolt these right in. These things are bolted to the frame now. Got a couple of my redundant ground straps up to make sure I got good grounds all over the place. The fuel lines go back up over, because here there will be enough room for the exhaust with the fuel lines here. But to run the fuel lines in this area where the exhaust is going to be coming through here, I'm not 100% okay with that. But yep, up, then over into the tank with enough slack that this tank can be lowered, because it's going to have to be lowered once we get the wood bed on, because we have to be able to bolt through all these holes here, and there is one right on top of the fuel tank. Let's see, what else do we got? So to be totally honest, I haven't figured out how I'm going to be routing my transmission lines yet, but my rough idea is we can't really come straight out across and go over the frame because we're just too close to the exhaust, and I'd rather have them below the frame. So what I might end up having to do is 45-degree fittings them out and come straight down here, keep it as low and tight as I can, then go through here, and then normal stuff up over to my cooler that's up over here on the radiator. There's always a way. You need to get all your variables in place so you can see how you're going to route this stuff. Okay, battery. So normally your battery box mounts in this corner, right up in there on top of the fender. There's no problem with putting it up there, and we 100% can, but I kind of want to keep it out of the engine bay and keep that whole area clean and open, rather than stick a big ugly battery up in there. So I was looking around. We have a couple of battery boxes, frame mount ones, which would work awesome and would drop right into place right here, right there. Except we have a big honking mount there for a 4-link setup now, so that ain't gonna work. We could mount them here somewhere, but we have fuel filters and stuff in the way. We could mount them on this side, but as you see, we have 4 bolts here. That is going to hold our e-stop electric parking brake setup, and our parking brake cables are going to be the rest of this line and going to their respective wheels. So I was looking around back here and saw a bunch of unused space right here. So what we got right here is a nice little battery box from Tinworks. We were going to use this on the frame until I realized there's not going to be any room on the frame. It fits your normal, I believe this is a Group 80 or a Group 78 battery. Nice and tight. We're going to be running an Optima on this. We like running Optimas, but in this case, we're going to have to run one anyways because of how I'm going to mount this battery. So my plan under here is to actually go get my light first. That's better. Welcome back. My plan is to get a plate made that goes from here to here, and it's going to bolt in this lip in multiple places, probably 3 with 1/4-20 fasteners. And I want to do that because I'm going to grab our Tinworks mount. I want to mount this, let me get it in a better way in my hand, basically like this. And our battery is going to be there. Keeps it up above the line of the rocker so you don't see it, and keeps it up out of the way. Now that allows me to put my battery somewhere where it's not going to be seen. It's still going to be 100% functional, and just cleans up the entire engine bay by getting it out of there. Now you might ask yourself, which probably a couple of you already have, well, that's fucking stupid. What happens if you gotta jump your car? Now you gotta lay underneath it? No, because we will have remote jump start posts from that battery up into the area where the factory would usually have the battery. Now, mounting this back here is also going to allow me to mount my main section of fuel pump wiring and relay back here on the side of that battery box. And then really the only wire I will have to run back to it is this green one, which is my trigger turn on for the relay. All the rest of it will be in this harness that actually came with the fuel pump. So I was like, I want to try to use it instead of making my own. And I will also be mounting, crap, I put it up, oh, there it is. My fused junction block, probably to the side of that battery box. So that way everything is still going to be fused. If there's any shorts, we're not going to be burning the truck down. And I can keep my battery up somewhere where it's not going to be seen. So that is about it for this catch-up video. Boring, I know, and I didn't really do anything in it. But unfortunately, everything that I am doing to the truck right now is a lot of layout, figuring out, fabricating, very time-consuming stuff that's not really exciting, and it doesn't make for good video. So soon we will get to the point where I start powering stuff up and we can crank this engine over for the first time. And then that's when the cool stuff happens. But we still got tons of interior stuff to do. This is one of said pedals that I got to take a look at and see if we're going to use. We have a steering column over there. We have all the rest of the interior stuff. There's a lot. There's a lot to do. And my plan right now is to alternate between this and the 72 Chevelle, do a week on this, week on the Chevelle, and just keep going back and forth and get as much done as I can. So that way, neither of these two gigantic builds falls behind. Not to mention, the 71 GTO is on its way back. I think it's coming back tonight from exhaust. So we'll have that one to do as well. But it's got exhaust on it now, which means it has an O2 sensor now, which means we can start it up and hear what it's going to sound like and actually start dialing in some fuel to get it to be good enough to sit and idle and work through all bleeding the fluids and all that kind of good stuff. So stick around. Whole bunch of cool stuff happening all at once.